Jai Hind all of you. I am Ritika Dhyani. I am working as an assistant professor in Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College. In today's video lecture, we will be discussing functional dependency, which is a topic in DBMS. So first of all, what is a functional dependency? The functional dependency is a relationship that exists between two attributes. It typically exists between the primary key and non-key attributes. What does it mean? It means that if we have a student entity and this entity is represented using one of the attribute, that is ID, which work as in primary key in this particular relation, and some other attribute is their name. So if we need to find a name of a particular student, we need to have his or her ID first. So this ID will be used to find name of a student in student table. So this represents the functional dependency, with where this one is primary key attribute and this is non-key attribute. It means it does not identify any tuple uniquely. So this is how we represent the functional dependency. The left side of functional dependency is known as determinant. Here this X or this ID is a determinant. The right side is known as the dependent. Name will be dependent on this particular determinant. For example, assume we have an employee table with attributes employee ID, employee name, employee address. Here, employee ID can be used to identify uniquely the employee name as well as his or her address. Functional dependency can be written as employee ID. Here it is read as employee name is functionally dependent on employee ID. So now the functional dependency is of two types. First one is trivial functional dependency and the second one is non-trivial functional dependency. What does this trivial functional dependency means? It means in DBMS, when an attribute or a set of attribute on the left hand side of a functional dependency already determines the right attribute on right hand side without any extra information. A to B is trivial functional dependency if B is a subset of A. What does this mean? It means, for example, we have this particular ID and name attribute on left side, and this both will be identifying name itself. So this is known as the trivial functional dependency, where this is the subset of this particular determinant. Consider a table with two columns, employee ID and name. So this employee ID, combination of employee ID and name, will be identifying the ID only. So this is a trivial functional dependency, as it is a subset of this left hand side. Also, employee ID to employee ID and employee name to employee name are trivial functional dependencies too, because these are the subset of this particular left hand side. Next one is non-trivial functional dependency. In non-trivial functional dependency, the dependent is strictly not a subset of determinant. If X is to Y is present, then Y must not be the subset of X. It is called non-trivial functional dependency. When A intersection B is null, then A to B is known as complete non-trivial functional dependency. For example, here we have ID to name, first functional dependency is this, and then we have name to date of birth. This is the second one. So now, if we talk about these two functional dependency, we can see right hand side is not the subset of left hand side. So both of these are non-trivial functional dependency. Secondly, these are complete non-trivial because the intersection of these two will be null only, and also in this case it is null. So these are complete non-trivial functional dependencies also. Next one is inference rules. So there are some rules or axioms in DBMS which is used to conclude the functional dependencies on a relational database. The inference rule is a type of assertion only. It can apply to a set of FDs to derive other functional dependency. Using these rules, we can derive additional functional dependency from the initial set. First rule is reflexive rule. In reflexive rule, we have y is a subset of x, then x determines y. If this is true, then we can write this also. So here, let's say x is a combination of this and y is a combination of subset of x. Then we can write it as x determines y also, right? Next rule is augmentation rule. This is the second rule. In this rule, it is also known as partial dependency rule. In augmentation, if x determines y, then xz determines yz for any z. What does it mean? If we add another attribute here in left side, then we can write this attribute on right side too. Let's say for this particular relation having A, B, C, D as column, if A to B is there, then we can have AC to BC as a functional dependency also in this particular table using this augmentation rule. Next one is transitive rule. In transitive rule, if x determines y and y is determining the z, then we can say that x must determine z also. So here, if this is given and this is also given, then we can conclude that z is functionally dependent on x. Next rule is union rule. It says that if x determines y and x determines z, then x must also determine y and z. It means if this is present in a particular relation, if this functional dependency is present and also this is there, then we can write, we can combine these two and make it like x is yz is functionally dependent on x only. So this is the proof how we can say this. First one, both of these are given. As you can see, using IR2 means augmentation rule on first one, we can by augmenting with x, where x6 is equals to x only, then we can write x, we can add this x also here, so this is coming from here only. Next one is, in this rule again augmentation is applied, then y is added both side in this particular second given functional dependency. Last, we can, using these two, we can say x is yz is functionally dependent on x. Next rule is decomposition rule. It is also known as project rule. It is the reverse of union rule. It is basically splitting of the right hand side. So if this is given where yz is functionally dependent on x, we can say y is functionally dependent on x, and similarly z is also functionally dependent on x. So this is nothing but the split rule here. Next rule is pseudo-transitive rule. In this rule, if x determines y and yz, both of these will be determined by x, then xz determines w. What does it means? It means, for example, this is given x to y and yz to w. Then we can say x along with this z will be determining this w also. Next topic is normalization, one of the most important topic in database management system. A large database defined as a single relation may result in data duplication. This is the main error which can occur in a database, and these will communicate further if we need to find another specific thing in a particular database. This repetition of data may result in different anomalies. First one, making relations very large. If we have duplicate entries, then the table size will definitely be increased. It will not be easy to maintain. If the table is large, then it will be difficult to maintain. Second, updation of data will be a complex thing, as it would involve searching many records in a relation. So this is the second drawback. Third one, wastage and poor utilization of disk space resource. Obviously, if unnecessarily the table size will be increased, then there will be a wastage that is related to that particular table. The likelihood of errors and inconsistencies will increase. So to handle these problems, we should analyze and decompose the relations with redundant data into a smaller, simpler, well-structured relations that are satisfying desirable properties. This redundant data means the duplication. Normalization is a process of decomposing the relations into relations with fewer attributes. It is a process of organizing the data in the database, first of all. Second, it is used to minimize the redundancy or eliminate the redundancy from a relationship. It is also used, obviously, eliminate the undesirable characteristics like insertion, updation, and deletion anomalies. Normalization divides the larger table into a smaller table and links them using relationship. The normal form is used to reduce this redundancy from the table. Why do we need this? The main reason is it removing the anomalies. Most important characteristic for a particular or any database is to not have any kind of anomaly, whether it is insertion, updation, or deletion. Failure to eliminate anomalies leads to data redundancy and can cause data integrity and other problems as the database grows. Normalization consists of series of guidelines that helps to guide you in creating a good database structure. So first of all, what is insertion anomaly? Insertion anomaly refers to when one cannot insert a new tuple into a relationship due to lack of data. For example, let's say we have a table, course table, right? Then in this course table, we have ID, we have name, course name, duration, student ID, who are all these students that will be choosing this particular subject, right? And student name, age, etc. Suppose we have all these in a particular table. Then if we want to introduce a new course, let's say we have this DBMS course, then this must be having some ID, particular name, duration must be there. But let's say no student is opting for DBMS, then we do not have any student in this course. Then how can we choose all these entries? Because these are null only. We will not be allowed to enter this particular subject due to lack of information. This is nothing but insertion anomaly. Second is deletion anomaly. The delete anomaly refers to the situation where the deletion of data results in the unintended loss of some other important data. For example, let's say we have this subject in this table and a single student is opting this particular subject or course ABC, and some data is there. We have this data in the table. Now, the problem will arise when this particular student left the university or this course. Then this must be deleted from the table. Along with these will be deleted. Also, this particular subject details will also be deleted. Now this university or college will not have any subject as DBMS because there is no such data present in their database for DBMS. So when we delete this particular student details, we are deleting the subject along with its details, which is nothing but an important data for a particular college. So this is the deletion anomaly. Next one is updation anomaly. The update anomaly is when an update of single data value requires multiple rows of data to be updated. For example, in this particular table, we have another column as faculty. Right. Now, let's say this DBMS course will have 1000 entries, same entries, because 1000 different students will be having this particular as a subject. Now, if this particular course is taught by Miss Ritika and due to some reason some other faculty is now teaching this particular course, then we need to update all these 1000 rows for this particular subject. This is the updation anomaly. Moving on to the normal form. First of all, we have 1NF, 2NF, 3NF, 4NF and 5NF. 4NF is nothing but BCNF. First of all, for 1NF. A table is in 1NF if all attributes contain atomic or individual value. No repeating groups or multi-valued attributes must be there. Each field must contain only one value or atomic value. For example, we have this student table with the column student ID, name or subjects. And if in a subject, we have these multiple options available. So this is not allowed in 1NF. We cannot have multiple values in a single cell. That subject will have DBMS, oblique, OS, oblique. This is not allowed. Next is 2NF. A table is in 2NF if it is already, first of all, it must be in 1NF. Second, there should not be any partial dependency there. What is partial dependency? It occurs when a non-key attribute depends on only a part of composite key. Let's say we have this X along with Y, right? So this X, Y is able to find Z. But we have another functional dependency where Z is functionally dependent on Y only. So this Y is finding the Z. So this will represent as partial dependency because this Z can be identified using only Y. Why do we need this X also? So this is partial dependency case. This should not be there in 2NF. For example, there is a composite key student ID and course ID, X and Y. If student name depends only on student ID, it is a partial dependency. We do not need course ID for that. Such dependencies must be removed in order to achieve 2NF. So, we have enrollment table which contains student ID, course ID, name and student name and course name, and student ID itself is functionally dependent on name and course ID is functionally dependent on course name. Then this will be not in 2NF. So in order to make it in 2NF, we should be having student table, a different table, course, a different table, and then third table must be enrollment, which will be containing both of the primary keys. So now all the non-key attributes depend on the full key. Next one is 3NF. A table is in 3NF if it is already in 2NF first of all, and no transitive dependency must be there. What does it mean? It means if employee ID is finding the department ID and department ID is finding the department name, then we can say employee ID will be finding the department name. So this is the transitive dependency. This should not be there for 3NF. So now to make it in 3NF, what we can do is we will be having two different tables. Here we can have employee ID, name and department ID, and in another table we have department ID and department name. For this particular, we can have employee ID to department ID, one of the functional dependency. Another table will have department ID to department name. Now, because these two functional dependencies are in different tables, so this will now be in 3NF. Next one is BCNF. It is a strong version of 3NF. For every functional dependency X to Y, X must be a candidate key or super key. For example, if we have this particular course table and we have these columns and one of the functional dependencies instructor to room, then instructor is not a candidate key here, obviously. So BCNF is violated. To make it a BCNF, what we can do, we can have two tables. Instructor, room are the attribute of this particular table and course and instructor is in this table. Now all determinants are candidate key. Now coming on to the advantages. So first of all, it helps to minimize the data redundancy. Greater overall data organization is there. Data consistency is there within the tables. Flexible database design. And last is enforces the concept of relational integrity. The problem with normalization is that you cannot start building the database before knowing what the user needs. Firstly, all the requirements needs to be taken from the user. Performance degrades as we have multiple higher normal forms, 4NF, 5NF, 5NF. It is very time consuming and difficult to normalize relations of higher degree. Careless decomposition may lead to bad database design as well, leading to serious problems. Thank you.